We are in this small, one of the central towns in Portugal. For second time you've been in Portugal, right?
Yeah, second time in Portugal. First time I've been to Abrantes. Do you say Abrantes? Abrantes?
Yeah,
Abrantes.
So the point is, why do you think it would be interesting to develop a project here? What's your aims for this project? It's not a big scale project. It's like a.
It's when I first got the invite, I thought it'd be quite interesting because I'd never heard of the place before. It is quite a small town. It's quite a random place for me to be, and that kind of felt quite appealing. Felt quite interesting to come somewhere, just a small, quiet town, and make a work in a town. I think it kind of illustrates how the world of kind of public art has changed, or street art and graffiti has changed. That the fact that there's even a possibility in a small town like this to have a kind of an international presence. I'm a graffiti painter. I started as a graffiti writer and have grown up and matured, and I'm now an artist. Just because my work is out in public doesn't necessarily need to be defined as street art. I'd rather be defined as an artist, and my work is in the street rather than I'm a street artist. I see that as kind of a new category that's been created to kind of keep people in this one subgroup, or it was people that were never graffiti writers that came in their own direction and made this thing street art. And I've never considered myself a street artist really, but I am a wall painter. You know, my work is in the street. To come back to the kind of the smaller town, the opportunity this gives you is, like you say, it's not like we have this huge building that you have to get painted, or we have this. There was a lot of freedom when I arrived. Kind of, which wall would you like to paint? Where would you like to paint? And I find it quite amazing, say, to meet the mayor, to meet people, all the kind of city officials, and they're like, "Oh, you want to paint this wall? Great!" It's like it's a weird parallel future that 10 years ago I did a Euro trip when I was a graffiti painter, staying on graffiti writers' couches, painting the walls, the trains, and it was like that was the life I grew up in. And if someone had said back then, "Oh yeah, and in the future you'll be travelling around and you'll meet the mayor and they'll allow you to paint the wall, they'll invite you and say, please come and paint this wall," you know, there's kind of, you can never ignore the kind of, that even in a small town like this, people are so welcoming and so open.
Now your work is a lot about technique, a lot about art in a way of expression, but a lot about message. So what's the message now?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I kind of have had various, like, I see them as different themes that I've kind of worked along in, like, for the last, say, 10 years. I've kind of been working with this graffiti fetish idea, this kind of fetishism for space and materialism and kind of material objects, and this kind of fetishism for objects and belongings and stuff. And I kind of am now in a new theme of work, a new stage of work, which is kind of about our existence, or our artwork's existence in the world. And this is the kind of graffiti work that I'm doing at the moment. It's very much more. It's kind of a bit more broader, and it's even though I can talk about very specific things, like I'm talking about the ephemerality of the art. You know, like it's my form of art. I've always grown up not attached to it. You know, you give it away. It doesn't. You can't own it. You don't belong to it. And I kind of was in a position where it was like I could have started making lots of canvases and just selling them, and I didn't like it. I didn't like making products. I didn't like making a painting that could be bought by some collector and put in a shelf. So I kind of am really interested by that nature of, like, how things exist, and I think it's kind of reflective on life as well. You know, it's like we're all going to die. I guess it's, as I'm older and I've had kids, I kind of am much more reflective on our position in the world and who we are, and it's kind of thoughts like nothing lasts forever. Like the wall I'm painting now is like, because nothing. You've got to enjoy it while it lasts. You enjoy the process, enjoy the moment. Like you can't rely on anything forever. Nothing is around. You know, I'm going to die. My I've got to enjoy the time I have now, or the success that I'm having with some stuff at the moment isn't going to last. You can't rely on anything. So the piece that I'm working on with the title of Nothing Lasts Forever is really it's very broad in its scope, or it's very directly about the process. I find it quite interesting to kind of really exaggerate this process. Like I would paint over a painting instantly. It's like
open a new world in a way.
Yeah, and just kind of to show the disposability of it. Or like it kind of, it's nothing. It doesn't matter. I'm painting it. I'm putting all this work in, but I'm painting over it straight away, and then someone could come and paint over it. But it doesn't matter. But then I create this kind of infinity, this like weird bit of something that exists on the internet forever. And that's kind of really what excited me, is this idea of giving like time and space infinity, because I have different themes that I approach with the gifts a lot, and they're kind of about our time. It comes back to our time on Earth. I paint it, take a photo, paint a little bit more. And you could do this in Photoshop, you could do this on the computer, but then there's something kind of satisfying to the viewer, and satisfying to myself, but satisfying to the viewer when they see the work and they know all that time and effort's gone in. It's like that analog digital, it's that crossover between handmade and digital. Like there's some amazing digital art, but I don't think it quite resonates with people. But as soon as there's the handmade, the laboured, you can personally connect to it, and you get the kind of the digital satisfaction, but that there's
analog and human process
human
behind,
process
and not just a random process or whatever. Change place? Okay. I was next question now. You were saying
and illustrate like what can you do in a day, like the passing of time is always passing. You can't stop it, you can't stop this you can't stop time. And so this is why I find the gifts that I'm making fascinating, because they are like a snippet of time. They are. So this one I'm painting is going to be 5 days in Abrantes looped forever. It's like that 5 days I was at that wall painting. You can use the app and look at the wall, and you'll see 5 days there. You'll see the sun change, the shadows change. You'll see
life.
Yeah. And in that period of time, I chose to make that work. And I know all artists spend a lot of time on their work, but I like a real physical embodiment of time.
Now I'm thinking about time and cycles, and it's all about time.
Yeah.
And when you see the picture, you see no time.
Yeah.
It's static.
Yeah.
That's why the GIF wins, or the video wins in a place, but the GIF is eternal. It's like
it's
the loop, and again the GIF is a loop. And where are we in that period? We're just too small. Guilherme, sorry, INSA. Where do you want to go? We go to the skate park. Are you okay with time?
Yeah. Right.
INSA, take 3. I don't know what I'm going to ask now. We've been talking about so many stuff.
Well, we're talking about time.
Yeah.
The concept of time in work.
We were talking about this relationship with society and face, and and why, and maybe it's going to talk about more the human side of you to protect yourself. I don't know the real story, but it's okay.
Okay.
Or you can talk about architecture and the fourth dimension.
Take it wherever you want. Yeah.
We can go to many places. We can have dinner together if you want. So, Pass. INSA, take 3. Should clap also. So we've been talking about time, but now maybe we should talk about not you. Like tell me a personal view of yourself. What do you think about life? No, but you have like these kind of rules. You as an artist, protect yourself, don't show your face. Is it a kind of protection? Is it a kind of brand in a way? So, what is it?
It's tricky when I get asked a lot. Obviously, every time I do an interview, I have to say I don't want to show my face, and it's less protection is the wrong word. It's kind of a removal of myself from the work. I grew up with a created identity of INSA. Like, to be a graffiti writer, you create your own identity, and then I kind of stuck with that name and that identity. And I feel that the work should speak for itself. And sometimes, like, we're in a very celebrity obsessed culture, and we're in a very kind of, people are really obsessed with who it was that did this rather than like what it was that was done. And I kind of feel like the work has more weight if you just appreciate it. Like, I think I want anyone to kind of enjoy my work on whatever level they take it, and I don't want to be exclusive to certain groups. And I think you can kind of narrow down your audience by who you are, and so I don't want the fact, even though it's obvious, you can see from the back I'm a white male, you know, an English white male. That already narrows down my kind of spectrum of people. I don't want to alienate people that might take something from my work by who I am as a person. So like, I started out never doing interviews, never doing this stuff, because it was, for a while, lots of people had no idea who I was. They didn't know whether I was male or female, and it gave me the freedom to create work that I wanted to make, without the judgment of who I was making it. And then so there's an element of trying to keep that freedom to not be judged on who I am as a person, but to be judged on the work that I make. I tend not to sign my work. That's become less, it's kind of, it's like an ego thing as well. It's like, I don't want to be famous myself. I don't want to be in the front of a camera. I don't want to be shaking hands and signing autographs walking down the street. I want people to enjoy my work. I want my personal life to be very separate from that. And it's weirdly with the gift stuff, even though I very much know people know it's my work, I don't necessarily need to sign it. I like kind of being able to create a style or a genre of work which is your own, and so you don't necessarily need to sign it even. It's kind of, yeah, ego is a massive element that I kind of am interested in, and trying to remove that sometimes and remove the ego of self, and so it's not about me, it's the work. Enjoy the work. We all die, but we all live forever online.
Thanks, man. Maybe.
Does that sound okay? You didn't hear anything?
The good director never hears the interview.
Yeah. I didn't listen to anything. It's all bullshit.
Yeah. What's your name again?
We're just going to cut it down to the bit where you say, Abrantes is cool.
Can you please tell me your name again so I can check your work online?